What's up, y'all? It's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous, and I am back with another installment of Dangerous Minds. Today, I got a special guest with y'all today. My brother, one of the dudes that I really admire coming out of the RDU hip-hop scene, my boy Craig Leonidas, man. What's good?
Hey, what's good? What's good, Vinny? Appreciate you having me, bro.
Yo, no doubt. I mean, first of all, I want to say, congrats on the new single, Note to Self, man. I really love that joint. You and Germ really put y'all stamp on that one. Tell me about that one. How was that? Oh yeah, no problem. So tell me the inspiration behind the new single and kind of what brought you back, because I know it's been a minute since you put out music. So it's kind of walk me through that process, putting that song together.
For sure, bro. For sure. No, I appreciate the reception, man. I received that. Bro. Note to Self. I stumbled into it one day because I was trying to write affirmations, just in general. The song is centered around mental health, because of my personal struggles with mental health. And it's just, I had a moment of clarity in the sense of realizing my accountability. And so that affirmation kind of fell into all right, this is how I hold myself accountable and not become a victim, And for a while I was stuck. Germ Scorsese played me the beat maybe in 2019. And so it just took a while for something to finally come. And then I just said, let me look within. And when I looked within in my mental health journey, I realized the situation that I was in at the very moment was what I needed to write about, which was a note to self. And I knew within that there would be affirmations to keep me going. But I wanted to structure it to be more than just make you think. I wanted to have people bop into it. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like bopping to my pain, And yeah, man. Yeah.
I like that. That's dope.
That's how it came about. Dope.
And they, that's a wonderful feeling. Because there's some people, sometimes it just clicks. You hear a beat, you know exactly what you're going, what you want to say and how you want to put it together. But then there's those moments where you feel it. It's like that little feeling, something's there, but you just haven't they haven't really put the words to it. And when you finally get it, it's just like that. I feel like that's even better feeling when you finally get it after you've been sitting on something for a minute.
Yeah.
Yo, so that's dope. And I because I remember you were in the sessions with us with Germ, and I was so excited that y'all working together, because I thought if there's anybody that could bring out, because it just with me, Germ did the same for me. If I was thinking anybody could bring out the best in Craig, I know that Germ would definitely be the one to do it. So I'm glad y'all putting stuff together. Y'all finally was able to come up with something and put out something. It was dope. I was gonna ask you, is there any more music you guys are gonna be doing together?
Yeah, man. First, I want to say thank you. I appreciate that, man. That means a lot, bro. Watching what Germ did with your project, and then I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember this, and I'm sorry if I'm veering off on the question, but remember we ran into each other. I think we talked about it at the Rhapsody concert.
Yeah.
And I think it was 2019.
Yeah.
And when I walked by you, we asked the same question like you just asked me, yo, what you working on? And you were like, I'm working with this producer Scorsese. I was like, me too. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, man. So it's just funny because that was 2019. So fast forward to now, me and Germ have been bouncing ideas in the process. The answer to your question is yes, that is the lead single. It's going to be an EP, but it's I'm calling it. Well, it's titled "Council Culture," and so Note to Self is kind of one of the pieces out of appreciate it. It's one of the pieces out of a therapy session, and so that's what the project is going to be. So in this council culture, we have to talk more about our canceled culture. You know what I'm saying? And we have to cultivate that, especially within our community.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about. So Note to Self is the lead single off of Council Culture, which is going to be an EP centered around a therapy session.
I like that. Yo, that's dope. And that's really prevalent now, because the talk of cancel culture in general and how it's been like it's kind of like had a negative reaction. You know, there's been the moment like when it first happened, like a lot of things, something will start and then it's a positive thing. There's some people who are, you know, using their power and things like that to put down people's careers and, you know, like take advantage of people that they know, like, you know, are in a lesser position than them in a certain extent. And you know, so but then now it's turned into this thing where anytime somebody disagrees with what you're doing, what you're saying, even if it ain't hurting nobody, or even if it's like, hey, this is still a personal choice or whatever, like people are still, you know, people are quick to try to like pull the plug on your career and take away the things that you work hard for just because of a difference of opinion. So I think, you know, something like council culture is definitely something that like people need. But, you know, going back, because that was, so since you're talking about this being an EP, let's talk about your first EP, the Indecisive Decisions. So I went back and listened to it, and I haven't listened to it in a minute. So I went back and man, it's like listening to it with fresh ears. Like you put it down for a minute and you pick it back up. Like that 2-week notice is hard.
I appreciate it, bro.
And then I felt that spoke to me because I've recently like walked away from a toxic situation with my previous employer and got myself into a new position where I'm much happier. And like it just had that playing in my mind, thinking about, you know, just walking away from some BS. I know that you told me a similar situation. That's kind of ties into the note to self. Tell me about, you know, your decision to walk away, because you know you kind of touched on it briefly when you were describing the song, but like tell me about, you know, kind of like your journey to your mental health journey and things like that, and like really putting that together.
Appreciate it, bro. Yeah, man. So like I guess the journey around that starts around like the writing process in Indecisive Nature, right? And so the whole journey in the sense of, you know, right before that project even got pushed to be completed, I was on K97.5. And that kind of excited me in the sense of, all right, we're going somewhere with the music, you know? So then, you know, let them know that I'm gonna drop this project, you know, we get the project done. And then, you know, I'm pushing music. I've always wanted to push music, but I got one foot in corporate, one foot do I follow my dreams. One foot says, yo, this is crazy, don't follow this dream. You know what I'm saying? Nobody makes it, you'll be cliche. But then there's another side of me that's just saying, but yo, you love that and you're doing corporate because it's what a Black man should do. You graduate school, you should be here. So there was that pressure. So even as I'm titling the project and I drop these songs and they're like all revelations and moments of clarity, I'm still in the struggle. You know what I'm saying? Even like in Indecisive Nature, I talk about 2-week notice, wanting to quit, you know, and in that I pretty much, you know, I say, you know, what will I transition to? I don't know, making music people listen to. But when you're down, this is what you need to get you through. And I'm saying that, but I'm really talking to myself. So then after that project dropped and stuff didn't really take off, whether that be more shows being booked or just realizing now what, you know, I dropped the project, now what? That's what started my mental health journey. So now I'm kind of, you know what I'm saying, stuck between the indecision and then getting older in life. Should we still be chasing this? So it was all of that wrapped into one. But then I finally say, you know what? If I don't go after this now, I'll be old, I'll be bitter, I'll be mad. And I just decided to quit. I quit. I'll figure it out, you know? And so when I quit, that was the beginning of me being able to get back to the music. So really having time with myself, found a counselor, and it just started opening up the creative process again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yo, it's funny how we do that with music, because I was, as you were describing that, that's how I was with my EP. That's right around the time I put that out right around the time I met you. It was Yes, I Am a Dreamer. And
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like listening to that, like I'm telling myself to follow my dreams like I'm writing in a way that's like, all right, I want to like encourage people. That was kind of like the goal with the message behind that. But really, I felt like I was talking to myself. Like even listening back now, like that was all of those encouraging things is the stuff that I really felt like I wanted to hear without even realizing it. I'm writing it to myself as I'm writing it for other people.
That's dope.
And like, it's just funny how art can do that in a sense. You look back on it like, wow, these are the words I needed. And it may click years down the line.
Right. It's I like what you just said. You referenced it like earlier where you were like, yeah, man, I revisited this, and it's like where I was at this place in life, I heard it, but then I heard it again, and it's like, yo, I'm in this spot now. That's the beauty. I think that's some of the purest music that you can make, that it has replay value,
That's when you know that your music is more than just like a flavor of the month type of thing. It's timeless.
Right.
Like I could go back to it and like either it resonates with me later down the line, or like it makes you reminisce. It makes you reminisce to a certain period of time. And like, I get that kind of vibe. I told you when I first heard it and I hit you up and I told you like, yo, home was my joint. Cause I was feeling homesick. Like I'm just chasing my dream up here, and I don't really see my family like that as much as they'd like or I'd like. And but I'm like, I'm just doing shows, and that feeling of like, now what, like I've been there. Like I've dropped project after project, and you're thinking this is the one, and then when it comes out, you're just kind of like, all right, what now? I've been building up to this moment. It's here now. What?
Right. Yo, it's funny that you said that. Like, you don't realize how much we think like that next one is the one. Like, like we're gonna blow. So it's like you're like, nah, I know you got to put in the hard work, but then your feelings be really hurt when you don't get the reception that you think you should get. It's interesting, man. It's just interesting.
So shoot, tell me, so when you decided to walk away, like, do you feel, because you kind of took a hiatus from music, kind of like getting yourself together? Like, was that kind of like why you stepped away? Was the kind of like, all right, I got to get my mental health together. I got to like kind of put some stuff together before like hopping back into this music thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I took the break, man. Because I had so many unrealistic expectations, and those, like you said, getting a small aspect of getting to the radio station and realizing that your mindset was, was kind of jaded by that. And it plays with your ego, and you have to be like, nah, man, you got to put in the work. What does the work look like? Where do I go? And I'm super analytical. I analyze everything. So you pair all of that stuff, and it just made me get to a point where I couldn't even write through it. You know what I'm saying? Like some people say, they say like, some of the best art comes from like pain. Like, but some people will get emo and they write. And then there's some people who only write when they're happy. I couldn't do either. You know what I'm saying? And so I was stuck, and having that writer's block was like, but through that, man, I had learned a lot about myself in that process. So, taking it upon myself to deal with things that I hadn't unpacked as a kid, by seeking out therapy. And then realizing like, it's tough for us to talk about mental health because of the stigma that comes with it. And with that stigma, I just try to tune it out and just really put my needs in the forefront. And that's what ended up getting me the clarity that I needed. And it's still a process, you know what I'm saying? To kind of get back to myself, to take back the pressures of where I should be. And, should be married, should be doing this, should be doing that by this age, shouldn't be chasing that. Once I broke all of those things, I got back to my baseline, and then the writing began again.
Yo, that's important. Because I tell people all the time, like, I was worried about, because my family, older people, my family were like really against therapy. Like, oh, you just need to pray on it. You just need to,
Right.
It's all everything but go to therapy. You need to eat better. You need to go work out. You need to do more music. You need to do more shows. But it's everything but actually therapy. And I got to a point where I felt like I had to go to therapy, like, or I wasn't gonna survive this kind of thing.
Wow.
Like, it was just like, you're like, because I caught myself drinking every day, and I thought about my grandfather, and that's how he passed. Like drinking himself to death.
Right.
And just thinking like, yo, I can't end up like that. But I know why I'm doing it. I know I need some help, and I've been fighting it. But it's like, yo, you need to just sit down and do it. And so I'm glad you made that choice to yeah, no problem, man. I'm glad that I'm hearing that more and more too, like from people like, yo, I went to therapy, screw what anybody else says. Like, I know I needed it. And like everybody that I've spoken with after a few months, they already in a better place. They're already you already see a light kind of creeping back into their life.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, nah, bro. I like that you said that. Like, it has to be talked about more, and once it's talked about more, because I mean, to keep it honest with you, like, I think what really doubled down was I have two cousins who are therapists, and one of them were really close. He actually produced four out of the 5 out of the 7 tracks on Indecisive Nature he produced.
Nice.
Yeah, man. But yeah, he's a therapist. So he kind of normalized it and made it like easier for me to just ask questions. One, we're related. Two, you know what I'm saying? He looks like he's a Black man. And we chop it up all the time about it. And, I started bringing that to my friends and then started normalizing talking about it, but like you said, it's just breaking the generation of just praying about it and hoping that it'll be okay, and actually going out here to do something about it and speak to somebody. So,
yo, word. Like, anybody that sees this interview, make sure that y'all go see therapy. I don't care if things are great. I don't think if you feel like things are just so miserable they can't be fixed. Like, it can be fixed. Even when it's great, you still need to talk to somebody. Like, I just always encourage therapy for anybody, because we are living proof of that it helps. It helps. But I wanted to kind of like take things back to even before your first EP, and talk about just kind of how you got started with hip hop in general. Like, how did you get started, like, with music? Like, who inspired you? Kind of what led you to this point now?
Got you. Whew. Boy, oh boy, that's a great question. So, man, like, my mom and my dad would always play, different genres of music around me as a kid. Like, my mom listened to all kinds of stuff, Motown, UB40, and my dad would be playing Public Enemy, Montel Jordan, Run DMC, you name it. But, I was always glued to music, but I remember like rap specifically sticking out to me, like 97, 96. It would be like Missy Elliott, and then like coming off of that Tupac era. So I always fell in love with Biggie, but they made me like music, you know what I'm saying? But Timbaland and Missy Elliott made me fall in love with music. Just that sound, it was different, it was crazy. So I really thought I wanted to be a producer as a kid. Didn't know how to play no music, no nothing. I just heard Timbaland beatbox and figured this is what I want to do. So I thought, but I would always memorize songs. So that was my thing. Busta Rhymes was one of my favorite artists at first. Then, deliveries like Ludacris were dope to me. But then, it was the era of like lyricism. So Jay-Z is who made me want to rap. You know what I'm if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He made me like be like, yo, I want to rap. So I love the animation with the Ludacris and the Busta Rhymes, but then it was like, yo, when I started listening to Jay, I was like, yo, there's a whole lyricism side to this thing that's like different, that sticks out to me. So those are some of my early on influences. But when I felt like, all right, I want to rap or I can rap, it was the Kanye era. You know what I'm saying? So, I had already learned how to freestyle around 2003, 2004, but I never wrote. I would just learn how to freestyle with my
Oh, wow.
cousins and my friends. Yeah, didn't even know how to count bars. Didn't really know how to count bars until like 2016, 2017, just always freestyle, freestyle, freestyle. And then watching Kanye's concert in 2005, I was like, all right, this is the day I want to rap. So, I stopped freestyling and learning how to write. And so, that's early on what made me like be like, yo, I want to be a rapper, and that was also the beginning of the whole indecision. So I'm beginning to get better at writing songs, but nobody's heard them. I've never recorded nothing, but now I'm getting older. And so by this time, I'm 6, 7 years in the corporate, I'm still writing songs and I'm letting people hear them, what I'm writing to different beats. And they're like, yo, you're actually all right. Like, what are you doing? And the people around me knew I could freestyle, but I never took it serious. So I finally took it serious in 2016. I'm deep in the corporate, and that's what led up to the journey. But the biggest influences for me was Kanye for making me feel like I can, and Jay-Z's lyricism. And I'm gonna say like splashes of Luda and Busta, like all of these colors are still some of my biggest influences.
Yo, dope. I could definitely hear the J influence. I could definitely hear the Kanye. He surprised me with the Missy and Luda and Busta though. But I kind of get the vibe from that with this new track. Like listening to the first EP, I could definitely hear the Hove and Kanye influence. But I could definitely feel you kind of jumping into more of the animated space with this new joint. Is gonna be more of that for the rest of the new EP?
Yeah. I think you hit it right on the head. Like that's the cool thing about Germ's beats, man. Like they make me see colors, the texture. I mean, we got a whole project from you, like, and so yeah, the answer to your question is yes. Like I'm taking more of a risk, but I'm also, not being afraid to express who I am through cadence and sounds. And so yeah, man, yeah, it's gonna be different.
Yo, dope, man. So this is like a question I try to throw in every once in a while, like when I do interviews. So if you could name one thing from like kind of like you look at the landscape of music now, what's like your one pet peeve when you look at kind of like how things have been moving lately?
My one pet peeve with how things have been moving lately, you said within music?
Yeah, kind of like, kind of like a trend or, just kind of certain things that you've noticed that like irks you a little bit. I feel like as artists, there's always something that, in the landscape of things that we could like pick at, even if it's small.
I think I try not to sound too dated or biased towards, my era when I say this, but I just feel like there are so many people doing the same thing all at the same time, mimicking songs with the same cadence that are kind of off. Like, I like the drill movement. I think the drill movement is fire, but you'll have 3 or 4 artists who are doing like very, very similar songs.
Yes.
Same thing when we hear artists all sounding like they had that Migos cadence.
Yeah.
And it'd be 7 artists, and it's like, yo, like, I thought we had gotten away from that, but maybe I'm just not listening to what's new. So that's my peeve. I don't hear anything distinctive, consistent.
Yeah, it's not nobody values individuality anymore
at all, and it bothers me to a core. But I also am like, man, I hope I don't sound like an old head, but I'll be.
Oh no, yo, I've and it's funny because everybody that I've asked that question, like 9 times out of 10, they're giving that answer.
Yeah.
And then they're also like worried, like, am I sounding dated? Because I go through that too. Like I'm thinking maybe it's just not my ears. Like maybe this is what the generation after me is supposed to be listening to or something. But man, like, but I feel like there's some truth to that, regardless of how old you are.
Right.
Because we come from an era in hip hop where you had to sound like yourself.
Right.
Like you had to be like Jay didn't sound like Busta. Busta didn't sound like DMX. DMX didn't sound like Nas.
Right.
Nas didn't sound like Missy, so on and so forth. It's like you had to have your own sound or everybody's gonna clown you. That's where biting come from. Now there could literally be 4 artists that if a song come on the radio and I'm not familiar with it, I don't know who it is. I can name 4 different artists that it could be.
Right.
If I ain't never heard it before, it's like, oh dang, is that such and such? And it's like, nah, it's somebody completely different that just showed up, but he sounds like the 5 other dudes that came before him.
It's tough, bro. It's tough, and that's not even like, it's even like with crosswave R&B now, like it's hard. It's not even just rap. So I'm just like, yo, they sound very, very similar. And I miss that originality because it's refreshing, you know, like it hits you like a ton of bricks. Like when you hear somebody on the radio, you're like, oh, who is that? I just don't get that as much, you know?
Like, even if I don't like the song, if you at least sound like yourself, I'll give you props. But it's just because I could be like, all right, it's not for me, but maybe, you know, whoever is rocking with you can enjoy it. But at least you got your own thing. But when you just said, oh, okay, this dude is hot or this girl is hot, I'm going to do what they doing. That's whack. That's whack to me.
Right.
So, yeah. So, nah. And it's funny. I like asking that question because I wonder how many people going to say the same thing. It's a growing problem apparently in music that everybody decides to hop on the same wave at the same time and sound the exact same.
Yeah. I don't know. We might. Yeah. It's weird times. But there are a few people that stand out, but that's the one gripe that I have. Yeah.
Nah, I feel that. Trust me, that's the same gripe I got and a lot of people got right now. And I hope it changes at some point. But, you know, we'll see. So, you know, with the new music, for anybody that's listening to you for the first time, what would be like the one thing you want them to take away from you, from your music? Like, could they run across your first EP or they come across Note to Self or the new EP that's coming out later? Like, what would be the one thing you would want people to take away from your stuff?
I would want them to take away that never, when expressing yourself, never be afraid to authentically be you, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's what I would want them to take away from it. And I know that's a long answer, but it's because the subject matter that I tackle isn't what you're going to hear typically. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, quitting a job, like, you know, theme and stuff like that. So when you first hear my music, I want you to be like, oh, this dude's talking about quitting his job, or damn, he's talking about therapy sessions. And just be like, oh, if I do art, I want it to be a reflection of me and nothing else. So.
Oh, facts. Yo, actually, that's a great answer. Because that's what, you know what? And it's funny you mentioned that because you were naming that stuff off. The only other person, and I kind of got this vibe from listening to your stuff, the only other person that I could kind of go to for that kind of like honesty, like relatable, like just realistic honesty is Fonte. That's like one of the only other people where it's like, he makes regular life, being a regular dude with a regular marriage, family man, whatever, like everyday stuff sounds so dope. And like that's kind of what I got from your stuff. It's just like he taking stuff, concepts about, you know, they, you know, it's not this, you know, over exaggerated, you know, rap persona, over exaggerated lifestyle, you know, that most of these rappers are not really living on a daily basis.
Nope.
Like never, like it's like, oh, okay, this is realistic. This is like what really goes down in neighborhoods. This is what really goes down between family. This is what really goes down between, you know, husband and wife, father and son, you know, things like that. And I was like, yo, that's dope.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah. That's a unique perspective. You know, it's a voice. It's a voice because the you know what I'm saying, you think about a lot of artists, like if you're trying to do the same thing you did this year that you did last year, as you're growing older, it don't apply to you. So it's so dope to have music for the people who were like, yo, I used to listen to this artist and they grew up with me. So now they're rapping about daddy duties or whatever. You know what I mean? I just think that's a unique perspective. And to make it slap, it's just, I don't know. I think that's like one of the dopest things ever, you know?
And like, I think that's what's going to keep hip hop, you know, because hip hop compared to most genres is a young genre. Mm-hmm. So for a long time, it was only the young people talking about it because only the young people wanted to hear it. But now we got older hip hop fans that remember the golden age, that grew up in the very beginning with Kool Herc and, you know, Grandmaster Flash and people like that.
Right.
You know, so now it's like, all right, I don't want to hear the thoughts of a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old rapper. So I want to grow. I'm growing up and I want my artists and the art that I love and the music that I love to grow with me. So, you know, that's a market that I don't think a lot of people are tapping into. So being relatable, being down to earth, being a grown man and a grown woman in hip hop is definitely something that's needed.
Right. For sure. For sure. No. That's my sentiments exactly, man.
Yo, facts. Well, yo, man, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today, man. Like, you definitely one of the people, like, whenever I talk to you, you were a very insightful guy, very, like, you know, even in the moments where you were going through stuff that I didn't know about, you were still like one of the most positive people that I would always run across. And you just know it was always going to be like a good conversation, insightful conversation when we link up. So, man, much success to you. I'm really happy to hear about your mental health journey and you getting on the other end of it. You know, other end of that dark period you was going through. And I can't wait to hear the new music, man. Any last words you want to leave with the people? No problem.
I want to say thank you, man. I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate you giving me the platform. Appreciate you taking the time of doing the research, man. That's super dope interview. And thank you for that, man. Keep doing what you're doing. I love this. And it means a lot, you know, all the kind words. And that's it, man. That's all I got, man. Just Note to Self is on all streaming platforms.
Yes.
Check it out. The project Council Culture is projected to be here December. So I'll keep everybody posted on that. Yeah,
y'all heard it here first. And I'll make sure I put the links to your new single and the social medias and stuff. Those will all be in the bio when I put this up on YouTube. So make sure y'all check them out. For anybody to come across this video, make sure y'all check out my boy Craig Leonidas. But until next time, it's your boy Vinnie-Dangerous, Dangerous Minds. Much love. Trust me, I'ma be ready when they come for me. Dying soon, black man, so he might be dying soon. Won't supposed to make it past 22. Now he 28, that 6 years overdue. Just let you know I'ma be on guard. Whether no hood or a superstar, it really don't matter where we are. Angels, medals in the cars. The devil's working hard, so pray for me.